Okay, YouTube, this is Lori Girl again. I just wanted to show you the rest of my garden. My camera ran out of capacity before I had a chance to show you the rest of it. This is one of the beds that we filled up with the wood chips, some pine needles, and some leaves from the yard. This one we filled up halfway. I cut back all of my Swiss chard the other day and cooked all that up, put it in canning jars, and I've got to pressure can that. I was going to do it today, but I think I've run out of time. But anyhow, I'll do it soon and get it. I had, I think, 5 quarts of Swiss chard. Now, I've left the plants in the ground to see whether or not they still give us some more. You know, we'll see. If they don't, then I'll just pull them out and mulch the rest of this. And there, I have 1 cherry tomato left there, and this is a 1 tomato plant, if you can believe it or not. This is a Sweet 100. And I have probably picked over 1,000 tomatoes off of this one plant. It's just unbelievable. It's heirloom variety, and it is still going pretty strong, believe it or not. And I picked probably about 100 tomatoes off of it just day before yesterday. So, although the temperatures are now in the 50s pretty consistently and going down to probably close to freezing at night now. I don't know how much longer it'll last, but whatever. This is another bed that is just filled with leaves and wood chips and pine needles and grass clippings and everything that's not moving around here went in there. This is an eggplant, one of those Asian eggplants. As you can see, the plant is still pretty healthy, and I have blossoms on there. So I don't know if it's going to give me more. I do have 1 eggplant here, but I don't know whether I'll get more eggplant or not. It's my first year growing eggplant, so I know nothing about it. And I'm letting it rule the day here. So this is a pear tomato here, and it was probably the 2nd most prolific tomato plant I had. Just produced left and right. Wonderful tomato plant. Here I have 1 lone little tiny watermelon. Who knows whether it'll be any good or not. It is a sugar baby, so we'll see. This year I had used this type of a trellis system, which sort of worked really, really well. It's an A-frame, and we just used pieces of wood that my husband fashioned together with some wire, and then we covered it with this I don't know what you call this, hardware cloth or whatever, and we placed it at the end of the garden bed, and the vines would grow up the one side of the trellis and then down the other side. So it gave us twice as much trellis space without having to go really tall. The tall part, you know, provides or makes so much shade that it's not conducive to the rest of the plants. So we tried this and it worked well for us. So I don't know if that's something you want to try or not, but it worked relatively well. And then you just pick it up. It's not attached to the ground or anything. We just sort of propped there, and just pick it up, fold it up, and take it up to the shed for the winter, which we haven't done yet. But we're trying to clean up things right now and get the garden put to bed for the winter time, so we'll take care of that here in the next week or so. This is my Thai basil, and it really likes this cool weather. It has just bounced right out, right out, bounced right up, and is doing beautifully. So it makes me want a big steaming bowl of the Vietnamese noodle soup, pho or pho, or however you pronounce it. I don't know whether or not that's going to come back next year or not. We'll see. This is some red lettuce that I still have growing here. I have 16 beds in this garden, 16 4x4s. And what my husband and I have decided to do, and are going to do, is we are going to connect all of these. There's 4 rows of 4 beds. So what we're going to do is connect these beds here by adding a piece of wood from one end of this bed to the other end of this bed, and then incorporate this wasted space here, which we had as walkways, but we've decided we'd rather have it as garden space. And so we're going to connect with a piece of wood across, and we're going to mulch and add soil to the middle spaces in between all of these garden beds as they go down. And that way we will increase our growing area probably by about 20% just by doing that. And then I am also going to add another row of 4 garden beds. It's ambitious, but I really felt like I needed more space. And then what we did was we put our tomatoes all around the perimeter of the fence. If you see what I have here in the ground, I have dug a hole, and I use these pots that you get, plants and stuff from the nursery. And what I did was I cut the bottom out of it, dug a hole, and put the pot down into the hole and filled it with compost and soil and whatnot. And then I planted my tomatoes in there. And then I used these T-posts as a way to attach my cages. I had the these big huge tomato cages down inside the pot and propped up against the fence, and then we used these little tie wraps to attach the cage to the fence, and it was very sturdy and provided a lot of stability for the tomato plants. However, I did not anticipate that they were going to grow out into the aisle or the edges and take up so much space. There was no room to get in between here. So we've decided to push the fence out another 5 or 8 feet out from where they are right now. And so that'll give us about 3 or 4 feet at the end of each one of these rows in between our tomato plants, so we don't have to have a shoehorn to get into the garden. But this system of putting it partially in the ground and partially in a pot worked really well. And especially my tomatoes just did very well this year. As you can tell from some of my videos, I just had a plethora of tomatoes. And another little thing I wanted to mention about my tomatoes that I really found very successful was that I save all of my eggshells. And periodically, about every 2 months or so, I take and grind them up with the coffee grinder into a powder. And then I mix that with Epsom salts. And that's what I side dress my tomatoes with. I put a little of that mixture down in the bottom of the hole when I plant the tomato, so that the tomato meets up with the calcium and the magnesium, when the plant is setting its roots down, and then I don't get the blossom end rot. I did have a little bit of blossom end rot, and I was able to side dress with the the eggshells and the Epsom salt, and it worked really well. That's a natural fertilizer, and the plants really love it. So I thought I'd share that with you. And this is more kale. I just love kale. Love kale and collard greens. And this right here is yarrow. My son, he's 23, he's in school to be an x-ray technician, and he has a interest in herbal medications, herbal, I guess medications. And anyhow, he's asked if he could put some yarrow in the garden, and so it's doing really well here. And so I think all parts of the yarrow are beneficial to make various herbal preparations. So we gave him some space there for that. So basically everything has completed and wound down here in the garden, and have very little left, just my collard greens and my kale and my eggplants, a couple of peppers and some basil, and that's about it. So, but this was a very productive garden this year. I could not believe how many vegetables we got out of here this year. It's just unbelievable. So anybody who is thinking about starting a garden, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. But I get to go downstairs to my food storage room and look at all the vegetables that I have processed and canned and placed up on shelves. And this winter, when I have the urge, I can go down and get eggplant, and I can get kale, and I can get collard greens, and tomatoes, and corn, and green beans, and squash, and zucchini, and pickles, and you name it. I've got it down there. There's such a beauty in it, growing your own vegetables, processing it, putting the food up on the shelves, and not having to rely on the grocery store for your sustenance. So anyhow, it's getting long-winded and a little chilly out here, so I'm going to let you go. This was the first look I've let you have of my garden. But, you know, in the beginning of the new garden season next year, I'll be doing frequent updates, and you'll be able to see what I'm growing and how everything is going in the garden. So anyway, until then, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.